Welcome to the Academy for Men's Tribal Fire podcast. I'm Michael Gibson.
And I'm Lance Cole.
Yo, man, you ready to start a fire?
Yeah, let's light it up.
All right, and we're live. Hello, Academy for Men viewers, our tribe, our Tribal Fire podcast crew, the squad. So good to see you again. My name is Michael Gibson, and I'm the host of the Academy for Men Tribal Fire podcast, along with Lance Cole, who couldn't be here today, but we'll see him on the next one. And we have a group of guests. We have some guests today that I'm very excited to be able to introduce to you. And I want you to know that if you are looking for really powerful people, really powerful teachers, especially in the Austin, Texas area, oh man, have I got a treat for you. I've got a couple that are on the call today, and we're going to talk about all manner of things. This is a couple who has reached over 2 million people with their involvement in many different things that they've been doing. And in the Austin, Texas area, they've created a community called Ecstatic Hearts. And they offer Tantra and sexual empowerment classes. They're involved in people's lives. They're really making a difference and charging forward, especially in this world. In fact, they like to say that their purpose is awakening love to build a better world. And I would love for you to meet my friends, ScottyO and Melanie McClure from Austin, Texas. Hello, you two. How are you?
Hi there. We're doing great.
Welcome to the podcast. We loved our time with you recently. Lori and I and Om Rapani got to spend some time with you in your house, and you were so beautiful and generous for sharing your space with us and your beautiful animals. We had such a good time, and it's exciting to see you guys again. How are you?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Doing great.
Good. Yeah, so you guys have a lot going on, and I know that you're growing. Your group is growing in over 2,000. I think you said you had over 2,000 people who have taken your courses and
Yes.
And have completed, and that's like a mile marker, right? And then I look forward to doing another podcast when you say it's 10,000. You know what I mean? So it's exciting. So ScottyO, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
What's the O?
The O stands for orgasmic oneness. So every time someone says my name, it reminds me of what I stand for in the world. And we can all become more connected and have unified consciousness through the power of our orgasmic energy.
Oh, that is good. And Melanie, how do you like the O?
I like it. Scotty.
One of the reasons I got the name, but that's the...
I love it though. That's such a great, thank you for saying that, because I was like, I love your name. ScottyO is amazing. Melanie, how are you doing today? You look beautiful, love.
Hi, thank you. I'm doing fantastic.
Good. Well, I wanna just say that you two have a very unique story. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is just maybe have you share your story with our viewers, because it's a beautiful story. So I'll let either one of you start and share with us, like, how did you get on this path called Tantra, and you know, what were some of the things that you learned along the way, and then how did you find each other?
Shall I start?
Yeah.
So let's see. Gosh, it was 25 years ago or so when I was working in corporate America, managing Friskies cat food, and I was doing 80 to 100-hour weeks. I was very disconnected from my body. I was very headsy, and I wasn't really that happy. And then I got sick with chronic fatigue syndrome, and then I was also just recently explore the realms of sex. And one of my first experiences with a woman was pretty shaming, in that I basically had like 3 strokes and I was done because I ejaculated. And she was like, are you kidding? Is that all you had? And it was like, oh. And so I really said, man, I got to do something to become a better lover. And so I just stumbled upon a Tantra in California, the same as Lori did with Ipslu. And it really started changing my world. I started like taking care of my health and my body and started listening. I started learning how to connect more with people, developing real relationships, following my passions instead of what people thought I should do. And I completely changed my life. And now we're doing Tantra full time. But how basically I learned some basics, some powerful techniques like separating ejaculation from orgasm, which most people don't even know is possible. And then I learned how to start feeling more energy and opening up my heart. And then I met this amazing woman. And about 10 years later, I guess it's about 12 years ago or something. Anyway, so my time's a little rough, but go ahead, honey. What's happened with us? How'd you get in touch?
Well, what happened to you once you met me, babe?
Well, so we basically we met at the Rainbow Gathering, which was like a festival out in Colorado with it's the biggest unofficial gathering of people for peace and love. And there was 60,000 of something. I just happened to be dancing around a campfire covered in mud and nothing else. And Melanie was the first time, dreadlock type looking hair, and I guess they were braids, and hint of tattoos. Anyway, we connected, but we didn't actually start dating because I ran into a lot of exes there. I actually went there and broke up with a girl on the way. So then we met 2 years later. And at the wedding of the guy who introduced us both at the Rainbow Gathering, he after we started dancing to Billie Jean at the wedding, he came over and reintroduced us. And then he reminded us that we met 2 years earlier at the Rainbow Gathering, and we looked different in our wedding clothes. And and I wasn't even living here. I was in Houston at the time. And then I came in for a date that lasted 24 hours, and then I came in again for our second date. Was a week or 2 weeks or a month, I don't know. And
you had a week-long date?
Yeah, something like that. I think
They just time, but it's 3 or 4 dates before he moved in.
Yeah, 3 or 4 dates and I moved in. So
Then a month.
Yeah. Well, you tell us your perspective. She's better with details.
Well, my story is I've always been living tantrically in a lot of the realms of embodiment and being present and such. I started dancing when I was 3, and I've done all kinds of dance and art and singing and choir and all that stuff, which was really great. And especially when I became an adult and I got into partner dancing. Partner dancing is a wonderful way of practicing that oneness connection, feeling the earth beneath my feet, the energy all around me, the energy connection between me and my partner, and just really being in tune with all that connection. But the piece that was really missing for me was sex, love, romance, all of that stuff. I grew up Christian, very strongly Christian, and true love waits, and I didn't even have a boyfriend until after I graduated college at the age of 21.
Wow.
I had platonic friends, plenty of platonic friends, but not a single romantic friend until I was 21. And I
was 23 before I lost my virginity.
And I was convinced by my other super Christian girlfriends that I should start dating and having sex. So that began my journey. And it was really tough for me to decide to be a yes to that. But once I did, I was like, this is why I waited. Because all I could do was thinking about sex. And luckily for me, I met this man when I was only 24. So it was 2 years after my journey into awakening my sexuality. He was my 3rd boyfriend. And my other 2 boyfriends were great. My first 2, they were very dedicated lovers. But even with them, they were very convinced I was not having orgasms. And being the inexperienced lover that I was, I didn't know if I was having orgasms. I'm like, I might be, but they're just not that big a deal. I don't know. But whether I experienced orgasms before this man or not, they weren't anything to be super excited about. But when this man came along, it was like fireworks and full body orgasms and all night sex. And whenever I heard people talk about making love all night long, I thought they were just exaggerating perhaps. But once this man came along, it was a no exaggeration. We were making love all night long, a lot.
Talking a lot about the sex part of things, which was great. And I got to say, I'm genuinely lazy. So this is what encouraged me to keep practicing. But we got so much more out of this journey than just a great love life. It's like it's given us more energy and more sensitivity, and it's become like a spiritual practice.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't done with my story.
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
And the reason why I think the sexuality part is so amazing is because I feel like that's one of the biggest missing parts in our society. I mean, growing up, all I was taught was true love waits. The only good sex is sex within marriage. Just don't have it until then. And that was pretty much the end of any conversation. And then once I stepped into that, I really felt like claiming my sexuality, like blossoming and like owning my sexuality just really helped me to own all of who I am and really just awaken all of who I am all over. So it really helped to step into my fullness and to step into enjoying life to my fullness and enjoying pleasure all around to the fullest. And it was just like really awesome then, really awesome now. Like we've been together now for 12 years. We still have a strong, loving, passionate relationship that's filled with great sex and connection and oneness, intimacy, and all the good things. And yeah.
Not just still good, but like one of the cool things about when we started is like, start off, as you said, like fireworks was like the best sex I'd ever had. But then it just kept getting better. Like in like a month later, it's like, holy cow, it gets better. And then like a month later, it's like, crap, no one told us this was possible. And then like a month later, boom, boom, boom. It's been practically like that every month for like 12 years. This keeps growing and growing. And then this last year, as I mentioned, it's become very spiritual. Like we have started having experiences directly with the divine. We started having, I go into a lot of crazy experiences that we've had, but we really start feeling the oneness with everything. And we start, this whole journey is a process of healing. It's like getting rid of shame, guilt, fear, stuff that trauma, things that kind of hold us back so we can really be in the present and live life to the fullest. And by creating a circuit of energy and moving it through each other for hours, it just helps open up our chakras. And what basically that means, it helps us become more in tune with our power, become more self-expressed, become more intuitive, even psychic. Like one of our weekends, we show you that you're psychic, like on one day. And it's just been really a profound experience. It's truly a gift that keeps on giving. And the difference that we see it making in our community is what keeps us inspired to just keep on doing, because it's fun.
Yeah.
I can imagine like a whole army of people starting to have these kind of experiences with each other. And that's really the goal of it. I mean, you said it yourself, you're really, really out to awakening love to build a better world. And it sounds like the best way to do that is to live it first, right?
Yeah. And started developing it into like my daily practice and my daily life. It felt like awakening my superpowers. It's like, oh my God, I did not know these senses were there. And it's a practice of being in your body and awakening the senses, like all your senses and then some that you don't even know are there until you learn and practice Tantra. And it feels like awakening to my magical self, like having magical powers that now I'm awakened to. It's something that I connect into like everything, everyone. It affects all of my connections, and it's really an amazing experience.
That's fantastic, you guys. Hey, I'm excited because I got to see you guys like behind the scenes, and how loving you are to each other and how you honor each other. And it was an inspiration to be with you. And Lori and I talk about it. We're like, wow, these two are extraordinary lovers, We have a program. For those of you who don't know, we have a program, Lori and I, called Extraordinary Lovers. So, but we commented on that. And so one of the things that I'm really interested to know is a little bit about your Tantra background and how Tantra, there's a way you were before and there's a way you are now. And Tantra would be like the BC or AD or whatever of your lifetime, of your lifestyle. And let's do that when we come back. We're going to take a real quick break. Folks, we'll be back in just a moment. We're here interviewing ScottyO and Melanie McClure from Austin, Texas, the Ecstatic Hearts people. You can find them at ecstatichearts.com. We'll be right back in just a moment to have more of a conversation. All right, welcome back to the Academy for Men's Tribal Fire podcast. I'm Michael Gibson, and I'm here interviewing ScottyO and Melanie McClure from Austin, Texas, ecstatichearts.com, and just a special couple. We were talking about kind of how they got together, how they found their way in this journey that they've been on together. And what we'd like to do now, ScottyO and Melanie, is to ask you, how has Tantra really changed your life? Like, there was a beginning part, and then there was Tantra, and now there's this other part. And Melanie, you had talked a little bit about, like, you grew up in a Christian home, and so, you know, that's how it was there. But when you hit Tantra, when Tantra became a part of your life and like a practice, how has it changed your life?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned earlier, once I started practicing Tantra, it just really opened me up to awakening all of my senses and feeling like I'm a magical person, because now I'm really sensitive to my body's energy, the energy of the earth, the plants, other people. Like, I feel like I can like my senses can connect into everything and everyone around me. It's really amazing. And then also, I use it for healing both myself and other people. And it's really been amazing what kind of healing powers Tantra has. And it's mostly from a standpoint of just simply taking you into a deep, relaxed space, being fully present and allowing energy to flow through you. And then, of course, sexually, as I said, it just really helped me to open up and blossom and claim all of who I am, feel really just empowered, confident, powerful, orgasmic, feeling pleasure. Before Tantra, I totally did not have like explosive pleasure and amazing orgasms. After Tantra, lots of pleasure, amazing orgasms, extended periods of being orgasmic, even without sex being involved, just from doing like the tantric practices by myself even. And yeah, it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah. For me, you know, I came from a world of like 10 years of personal development stuff, and a lot of things that like that really were useful, but this is like the gift that keeps on giving. Like, Tantra has profoundly changed me in so many ways. I mean, I'm more powerful. I'm like, feel more confident. I feel more at peace. I really feel like I'm divinely guided now, at the risk of sounding woo-woo, but I really, I just know that I'm on my mission and my calling, and I feel my heart opening more all the time. Like, I really feel like I'm on a path of unconditional love. So I'm learning how to love more and more powerfully and more openly with everyone. It's certainly improved my health. It's improved my energy. It's given me superpowers, you know, like it's one thing to intellectually know we're all connected. It's another thing to actually physically feel the connection you have with others. And I mean, and I've had some really crazy mystical experiences too, where I've felt a direct connection with the divine. We've been able to have these energetic, orgasmic experiences, you know, with hugging. Like, we can hug someone and have an orgasm. That's one of the things that made us famous, you know, or we can go extended states of orgasm. We can actually be in a constant state of orgasm, more powerful than anything I'd ever experienced before, even knew existed, for like 18 hours. And when you have that much energy moving through you, like, crazy things happen, you know, like, I mean, if Melanie and I, we're so connected that I could be in the shower, and if she's like masturbating in the other room or something, I can feel it. I start having orgasms from the other room, not even know, you know, because we're so connected with each other. Not that she does that a lot, she knows me. But the point is that it just really opens us up to a whole other world. And the biggest benefit has really been seeing the difference it makes in our community. Like, seeing people open up their hearts and be more connected, more loving, getting rid of shame, guilt, fear, stuff that blocks them from being in the present moment. It really is a way of like training your brain to feel more pleasure, more happiness, more joy, more love. And so it's a process and a practice of experiencing heaven on earth here and now.
Yeah.
And it's also great practice for when you're in relationship, for coming back to love whenever you've been in a triggered and upset space, of having the tools and the practices for reconnecting, coming back into harmony, and coming back into love and peace with each other.
That's so perfect. I really like what you said about the collective, or the connection that you have with the rest of humanity. And Tantra is an ancient practice, and a lot of people aren't aware of what Tantra means. I think our listeners probably do know what Tantra is. Hopefully they've had some level of tantric training, but I think what you're doing now in Austin, and now even in Houston, you're now having weekly events in both Austin and Houston, and you're growing. And the reason you're growing is because you have this amazing ability to communicate that which Tantra is. And so the benefits, like you said, long-term feelings of orgasticness. What's that word? We'll make up a new word. It's orgasticness. Hashtag orgasticness. The ability to be in orgasm and to express that with each other and to actually feel each other. Some people call that spiritualism and mysticism. And I think it's an amazing experience when you have it. And anybody can have it. We're human beings and we're mammals. And so we're capable of having these experiences. Historically, like you said, I think growing up in a Christian environment like I did, and you did, Melanie, and then growing up maybe, however, I'm not sure if you were raised Christian or not, or had a religious background, ScottyO?
Yeah, my mom was, my dad was more agnostic.
Okay. So, but even if you were raised like in an agnostic home, where religion wasn't really talked about, there's still the social structure that includes, when it comes to sexuality, guilt and shame.
Absolutely.
And I think what you've said so far is Tantra has a methodology for removing those components from your sexuality so that you can be free sexually.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit more about maybe the methodology on how that happens?
Here, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of the practices we do in Tantra, especially when you go to like a retreat, one of the focuses is removing blocks to bliss, as we say. So what happens when we're growing up and living life is we experience instances that happen that cause trauma, that cause pain, that cause confusion.
Or just
basically any kind of event, story that happens that we didn't have the emotional capacity to deal with thoroughly, we just kind of tuck it away into our body for later. And it becomes these stuck energy within our body, or energy blocks that keep energy from flowing in our bodies, and also creates limiting beliefs and limiting stories that hold us back in life. So as we go through Tantra weekends, part of what we're doing is going in and just blasting those blocks wide open, like going through initiation rituals and emotional release practices to move that energy so that we don't have stuck energy just holding, like cramping us down and tightening us up and like just holding stuck energy in our bodies. We're allowed to like move it, and we don't even necessarily have to talk about it. We don't even have to go into the stories about it, although we do address the mental aspect as well, going back and finding out what are those stories we made up about things that are not good for us now, and rewriting those stories, reprogramming ourselves so that we can have positive stories in our minds. And also that just opens us up to feeling more bliss, feeling more pleasure, feeling more love, feeling more connectedness. And it's really a beautiful practice.
Yeah, I would just highlight that by saying focus and feeling. Like focus is really important, and that mindfulness and witness consciousness are like tools that we use to help us realize, are we on automatic? Are we functioning out of pre-programmed stories that we made up when we're 5? Or do we have access to new activities that can we grow and expand beyond what culture has conditioned us to do? So mindfulness is a big key of that. And the second part of that is fully feeling your feelings. Like the only way I know of to free yourself of shame, guilt, fears, trauma, and so forth is actually to go into it and out of it, like to fully feel it. The only way out is through. Because if you push that down, if you repress it and stick it down inside, it's like a volcano. It just rumbles and rumbles, and sooner or later it'll build pressure and it'll come out, and in probably ways that aren't useful for you. And and that really is a lot of our brain, now science is determining, isn't all up here. It's actually in our body, like 40% of our neural network and so forth. And it does hold, physical trauma. It holds stuck energies, as Melanie says. And so we're literally freeing our body. We're like, Roto, we're doing it with love to like clear out any of these things that are preventing us from being present and feeling our energy and our love and our connection right here and now.
Yeah. And the basics of Tantra involve breath, sound, movement, and conscious awareness of energy, and of course, mindfulness.
And touch.
So like the practices involve a combination of those modalities. And like for myself, one of the problems I had early on in our relationship is I took some birth control because I'd never taken birth control before. And the birth control really messed up my system. I went from level 10 libido to a level 1. Like my body was not functioning correctly. And I didn't know how to like get it to start functioning correctly again. I stopped the birth control after attempting to get balanced on it and whatever. It was not happening for me. And it was Tantra practices that helped to move that stuck energy out, to rebalance my body and to get my libido and like my body functioning properly again, so I could get back to enjoying my amazing love life. So yeah, it works wonders.
Just amazing insights that you're providing here. And we've got to take another break, but listen, if you have not met or haven't spent any time with Melanie and ScottyO McClure, I've just got to tell you something. They're an amazing couple. And the next time you get out to Austin, we're going to talk about how you can meet up with them, how you can connect with them. Right after these messages, we'll be back and we'll talk to you soon. The Academy for Men Tribal Fire Podcast. Welcome back to the Tribal Fire Podcast. My name is Michael Gibson. I'm here with ScottyO and Melanie McClure from Austin, Texas, and they are ecstatichearts.com. You are both really sharing some of the deepest heart parts, not hard, but heart parts of Tantra and the benefits that Tantra has in the living of a life. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about what you just said was that those things that show up in your life that you don't really have access to is feeling your body, being aware and conscious that something's going on here, not just here. And a lot of times how we try to sort things out, I think, is all up here. We call it being in our heads, right? That's a Tantra thing I think people say often. Being in your heads. And what we really want people to learn is how to drop into their bodies. You still have to use your brain because it's part of your body, but then what the brain becomes is one that can interpret the feelings, not the source of all the feelings, but the one that interprets those feelings. Can you speak a little bit about how the mind can be used to actually fulfill, I think, the understanding of what's going on in our bodies, and then how Tantra can take it even further?
Sure. So yeah, something called mindfulness that Buddha coined actually is, or witness consciousness, is literally the practice of fully feeling your experience while noticing it. It's kind of like splitting your attention a little bit, because you don't want to get so focused like watching a movie that you ignore what's happening in your body, and you don't want to get so in your head about noticing it, you lose the sensation or feeling you're experiencing. So it's really like being able to do both, and it's a practice. But when you get to the point of fully feeling whatever you're feeling, fully experiencing whatever you're experiencing, and there's a part of you that's noticing, that's like watching what you're experiencing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, then you have access to something different. Because the problem is most of us are on automatic and don't even know it. Most of us are operating out of preconditioned programming, and or we get triggered by an emotion. Like someone says something that makes us angry, and then we just lash out of anger versus being able to notice it happening. Go, oh wait, I'm not committed to anger, I'm committed to love, and being able to have access to something different, something new. And also it allows you to, when you start noticing what you're feeling, you can consciously choose to let yourself feel it, and you let it free of your body so that you can have access to new stuff and new growth. And that's another thing too, is that a lot of people, I think the biggest problem that most people have is that they are so afraid of change that they stay in their lives that might be mediocre. It's the mediocrity they know versus the amazing, wonderful things that are possible that they don't know about, that they're afraid of going for. And I got to tell you, most people, I think their lives, they massively underestimate just how amazing their lives can be. So it's like, keep charging, keep stretching your comfort zone, keep feeling your feelings and see what's on the other side, because there's so much more than most people have a clue about. And Tantra is the best access. It's the key to like showing me so much more that's available that I had no idea. I don't know if that answers your question or not. But.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. What about you, Melanie?
I think Scott summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, I do too. Thank you so much for that. It's so funny when we talk about like being unaware or being like, autopilot, I think is the word you used. Isn't it funny that, we could drive somewhere, and we've done it many, many times, but we drive somewhere and then we get there and it's like, oh, wow, I don't remember the drive. Is that what you're talking about when we auto?
It's even more than that. Like, for instance, when a trigger is when someone says something or does something that upsets us, for instance. And usually what happens is the person gets upset, they get triggered, and then they lash out, and then they trigger the person who gets triggered, and they get triggered, and it's back. You're in a trigger tornado, So, so what mindfulness does is allows us to step out of that and notice that we can make a new choice. And also, it's, what awakening is. A lot of people use, what is awakening? It's like, it's literally getting off of automatic, and it's also being in tune with and connected to the fact that we're all connected. It's about having an awareness of what impact our actions make. And it's about thinking more long-term, and it's about thinking more globally and unified consciousness. It's like, so when we all really get how connected we are to each other, when we feel our connection to the earth and whatnot, then we'll start taking better actions that are healing for the planet. They're holistic, that we can help love and support each other, because it doesn't make any sense to hurt someone else to like make money for yourself, because when you really feel you are that person, then you're only going to do things that are win-win for the world. And so when I'm talking about awakening, that's what I'm talking about, and getting off of this automatic programming, because most are like 80% of our programming of who we are and how we act and so forth happens like before we're 8. And it's like literally stories that we're told that it just becomes our automatic, and we don't even question it or think about it anymore, unless you're doing something like Tantra personal development work to like awaken you to the fact that, oh, this is just a story someone told me. It's not really what I believe.
Right. Yeah. I agree. And some of the trauma, if I could speak to this a little bit, some of the trauma that we experience comes in the form of shame. And shame can be a look from mom. I remember here's a little reveal about myself. When I was probably around 4 years old, I discovered my penis felt good to pull on it. I was 4. I didn't know anything about it. It just felt good to pull on it. So here's this little 4-year-old boy pulling on his penis through his pants. Right? My mom gave me the look. Like, what are you doing? Stop it. Like, I felt so much shame. And, the problem is that shame, if it's not handled, if it's not dealt with, and you don't have a way to deal with it, shame will drip on you and torture you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's like Chinese water torture.
Yeah.
Literally drip on you for the rest of your life. So how to handle it is looking for new ways to become aware that that was just a story. It was just a look. She was shocked. Who knows what she was thinking? But I felt that shame until I was probably around 35. And I promise you, I haven't pulled myself through my pants in a long time. Probably because of that. And it's not appropriate to do in public anymore anyway. So, but yeah, that seems to be like one of the trauma points that that human beings deal with, and we don't really even know without some kind of awareness that it happened that long ago. That that we're still dealing with it or not dealing with it, and it's still directing our behavior in some ways.
Yeah.
And Tantra can definitely give you freedom. So.
And even the lack of talking about sex makes it shameful.
Mm.
So even those of us who just had parents who were neutral and just simply didn't say anything about it makes us feel like there's something bad or wrong about it because nobody ever said anything about it.
Yeah, one of the statistics I looked at a while back said that 60% of women in the United States have trouble achieving orgasm, and I think that shame is probably the biggest single cause of that.
Yeah. And one thing about it too is when we make sex bad, wrong, dirty, shameful, like create those stories and tell people those stories growing up, then we believe sex is bad, wrong, dirty, shameful, and it gets expressed in bad, wrong, dirty, shameful ways.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way of creating a positive sexuality is talking about sexuality in a positive manner, having positive, healthy education, and letting people know it's a wonderful thing, and these are appropriate ways of expressing it and going after it.
Mm.
One of our goals is to make orgasm popular and cool again. Because it is one of the most powerful untapped resources of energy that you can use to, like, sexual transmutation and manifest what you want and make change, and it's very powerful when you tap into it.
Yeah, I agree completely. I just love you guys. Listen, our listeners are probably biting at the bit, going, how do we contact you? Where are you? What are you doing next? What can we what's coming up? That kind of thing. Because I know you two are doing some real work in Texas, and I happen to love Austin, Texas myself. So I do want to come back. I'm begging.
That's the Lord.
Thank you.
Are us as well. So we think you guys are amazing. So.
Wow, thank you so much. So tell us what's coming next for you. What do you have coming up that people can take part in? And also, I think there's a Tantra festival. I'd like you to speak about that. But tell us a little bit about what's coming up.
Yeah, let's see. The next big things coming up for us are the Prosperity Play Shop, which is something we've never done before. So I'm really excited about how to show people how to use tantric techniques to manifest more health, more wealth, and more love in their lives. And that's coming up April 26th. It's like a one-day workshop, and for a limited time, the first 50 people that sign up get to go for free. So it's normally a $495 workshop. So I'm just putting that up on our website this week, and that's exciting. And then we have our core training. There's our primary Tantra thing we now call the Love Class. It was a 2.5 day. It starts Friday night through Sunday. Is on June 5th through 7th. And that's really like the fundamentals of Tantra. And it's more than just that. And but it's amazing. And that's the gift that keeps on giving. It's literally the only thing that we had taken for the first 5 years of our relationship. And our relationship just kept getting better and better, from that, because it's got some really just amazing techniques that if you just incorporate them in your life and practice them over and over, they become more and more powerful.
Yeah, and those are the practices that we really do on a regular basis in our daily lives.
And then the festival.
And then the festival, we're excited to announce that we are hosting the 2nd annual Austin Tantra Festival. It was a big hit last year when we launched it, and we had like over 120 people at it for the first year. So we expect for it to grow even bigger and better this year. And it is December 11th through 13th of 2020. And we'll have lots of amazing teachers. Eugene Hedlund from Tribal Tantra is our co-organizer and master of ceremony. And
if you want a ticket for that, go to austintantrafestival.com.
yeah, and it's out of this amazing, beautiful mansion in the heart of downtown Austin. So
yeah, that's where you get to meet Michael here for the first time.
Yeah.
Little secret. I was Lori Handlers, in case you folks don't know watching. Lori Handlers and I had the privilege and the honor to share some of our Extraordinary Lovers stuff in the last Tantra Festival, which was amazing. And when you say it is a historic mansion in the heart of downtown Austin, Texas. And oh my goodness, what an amazing time we had. It was so powerful. And you had some of the best teachers. I mean, it was great. And I had never been to a Tantra festival that was like, how do I put it? What's the word I want to use? That was that pristine. It was like, there was like no holes in it. It was just perfect. So thank you for putting that on. And by the way, December, I think we may be, I think Lori and I will be in the States in December. We're still working out some things. So let's talk about it. We'll see.
Yeah. You guys really amazing stuff too. And you guys are a great addition to the festival and a great addition to our lives. So we really appreciate you having you in our lives.
Oh, we love you. We really do. And so is there anything else that you want to share? Oh, by the way, if you want to find out more about what's coming up, please go to ecstatichearts.com, ECSEATIC hearts.com. And you'll find out more and also be able to communicate with, they have a contact page and everything there. Anything else that you wanted to share before we go? And, I love your tagline. I mean, it's perfect, right? Awakening love to build a better world. I mean,
kind of says it all.
It does.
And the beauty of Tantra is you can have fun doing it. Be all serious and hard and struggle and so forth. You can actually learn and grow just as easily from pleasure, bliss, and orgasm as you do from pain and suffering. And so, let's make this fun as we transition into an awakened world.
Yeah, and this is really something that I think is so important for people to see. This is not just a one-hit wonder. These two are really powerful leaders in Austin, and I recommend that if you're in Austin and you haven't found a community and you're looking for one, I recommend these two leaders personally. I think they're very important to the growth of our community and our tribe. And so I recommend that you contact them and really find them on Facebook. You can find them all over the place, Instagram, etc. And we'll make sure that we have everything down here at the bottom so you can see how to contact them. ScottyO, Melanie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really do appreciate you. And I love you. And I can't wait to see you again soon.
We love you, Michael. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Wait, see.
Bye-bye.
Namaste.